Hey guys, and welcome back to Inktense Week. I have, of course, my Inktense pencils over here. And the light isn't really great on them, but you can see them. Ta-da! And then my little color swatching. And I have drawn this out, and this is on really cheap watercolor paper. That's why it's all textured and whatnot. And today what we're doing is, if you are worried about leaving pencil marks, and you'll see it on some of these, pencil marks underneath where you've tried to water it out, and you're worried about that, especially on the red kind of, well, pinky red, whatever that color is. These two kind of do that a little bit, but mostly it's just because I was lazy when I was blending these out. So, one of my favorite ways to actually use Inktense is almost like a little tiny watercolor. So, what I'm going to be doing is taking my first color, which is apple green. That's this one, apple green. And then I'm going to take this one, which I believe is sea blue, as in see the sea. Sea blue. And then this one, which is deep indigo. If you notice on these, they have really big, thick cores. Just because they're huge. To use them by themselves, they're very nice pencils, honestly, if you just want to use them as pencils. But they are really made to be activated with water, and you can see the difference here, just the vibrancy difference in the color, just how much it blows up and activates with water. So they are made to be used like that, but you can use them on your own if you want to. So I've got my little thing of water here. This is actually I think this was an apple juice thingy at one point. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first color, and using a pretty damp paintbrush here, I'm just going to get some of that color on there and basically just paint with it. And because it's damp, you can use more water, and this is watercolor paper, so I'm not real worried about it. I want to put down here just my first bit of color. I should probably be using a little bit of a bigger brush, but that's okay. Just put this down here and switch up to, brush off my brush a little bit, switch up to my sea blue, and then just put it in here. And you can see how light that color wash is. It can also help if you want to dampen the watercolor with watercolor paper with just a little bit of water first, like doing that. You can do that as well. I want to bring this blue down some. So I'm just going to, ooh, got a lot on there. Look at that. Cool. So I'm just going to bring it down here on the sides a little bit. Got like way more water on that than I expected. That's cool though. Just bring that down over here. Bring it around over here. And then I'm going to make sure I get all of that ink off, and when I rinse my brush, that way I can kind of blend this out a little bit with just water. I think I want some more of the green right in here. Just going to brush it on. I'm just touching it over here. Just putting it on over here where I want it. Nothing fancy. And then I'm going to go down to our deep indigo, which is this big one over here. Woo, I gotta move this. Hold on. My deep indigo. I want that all up here. I definitely want more of that. I want it really nice and dark coloring. Shall we do more? Why not? Ooh, that's a lot of water to get on there. I don't want to get too much water on the pencil itself because I don't want the entire lead to start dissolving, which it will. So just be wary of that and how much water you put on the pencil itself. I'm going to bring this down around here because I still want that edge to give depth to this gem. Then I'm going to start going back down and kind of helping to blend it out. Use a little bit more of the colors, but mostly just a damp brush to help blend that out a little bit. And since this is watercolor paper, you can use quite a bit of water, and it's okay. I don't want to completely saturate it, but whatever. The more you saturate it, just means the longer it will take to dry. That's really all. This is really, really cheap watercolor paper. It was like $2 for a pad or something like that. It was ridiculously funny. But it does work just fine, so don't worry about that. Unless you're like going for, you know, being a great artist and whatnot and having all your stuff last for forever and forever. You don't need great, great, great stuff. This blends a lot more like in front of me than it does for you guys. Like I can see the gradient here, and then I look on the camera and it doesn't show that gradient nearly as well. So I'm sorry for that. So I'm trying to fix that here for you. Get rid of any hard lines and such. See how the paper's starting to come up a little bit like that? That's just because I've been like going over and over it a whole bunch with it really, really wet. Watercolor paper that isn't that great will do that. That's okay. Calm down. So I really like to do that. It's one of my favorite ways to do the Inktense. If you want to work with a very damp brush and not worry about that as much, just touch it onto your brush, touch it onto your towel first, and then just get that little bit here, and then you can just go around like this. If you still think you have too much, touch it on your paper towel again. Just get off some of the excess. And you just work your way around, touching as you go for more pigment. Just like that. This is, because the water had already spread a little bit, that's why it's coming up into your gem. Normally I would wait until it was a little bit drier before I did that, but that's okay. And that's how you do it. If you want to go in and use like a really bright color, this is, I think it's this red over here. I don't want like almost any water. I want just pigment almost. And then just really gently you can do some cool little veining and stuff in here. Or you can wait till it's dry and then it won't spread. It'll pretty much stay where you put it instead of veining out, or instead of feathering out like that. When you're doing wet on wet, that's why it will feather out like that, which for me is fine. I kind of like that effect right now. So that was pretty cool. This one is kind of a try it out and see if you like this whole idea. If you do, play with it a whole bunch to see how you like doing it and such. After that, all you have to do is finish out your setting and you can put on your highlight, which is going to be up here. And now I found that my Jelly Roll gel pens do not do real well on any kind of damp media. So if you have the Jelly Rolls, wait till it's completely dry before you do your highlight. If you have the Signal Broad, which is the one that I use for like a whole bunch of white at the same time, you can do it while it's still damp and it will be just fine. I'll show you. If I can get it going, I'll show you. But it's okay to do on damp because it has a much bigger flow of gel than the Jelly Roll does. So if you go up here and pull out a highlight, it should do just fine. If you still have this too wet, then it might kind of turn the color of your gem. So just be careful with that. And you might want to wait until it's a little bit drier before you do your highlight. Also, if you are one that likes to correct or go in and sharpen all of your little edges like I do with your highlight, then you do want to wait until it's completely dry because the gel pen kind of stays there with its kind of goes into the paper a little bit more than it normally does because of it being damp already. So I do like to go in and clean that off, but I don't even know where my blender pencil is right now, which, because it's clear, is the one I use most often to do that and get nice little straight edges. I just don't see it. I have no idea where it is. But I will use my mechanical pencil instead. But like you see, like normally I go in and I clean out, get like real straight edges and stuff. But it's harder to do that when you're working on something that's damp. So let it dry first if you're one who likes to go in and clean up your highlights. If you don't care as much, then don't worry about it. But that is one of my favorite ways to use Inktense, and I hope you enjoy it and you actually really play with this idea of using them as like little tiny watercolors that are portable, basically. And once this is dry, it is permanent. You can go over it and let it dry again, and then go over it and let it dry again and go over it as many times as you like because they are permanent. And that is one of the things that it just blows me out of the water about these. So, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you play with it, and I want to see any gems that you do. Good, bad, the ugly, it's okay. We just want to see them so that, everybody can learn from it, and everybody can learn from mine for sure. So, because this is an example of not the greatest one, but that's okay. So, I'll see you in Gemho's or wherever you'd like to post it and tag me. Talk to you later.